Hi there. So my name's Natalie Hall. I've been an advanced hypnotherapist for 20 years now, and I work a lot with Simpson Protocol as a hypnotherapist because it's completely holistic and does not need somebody to go into their past and make a change in their present. Lots of people come to me, they've never heard of the method, and that's you as well, isn't it, Emma? And I want to thank you for joining me today to share your testimony from having your online hypnotherapy session of Simpson Protocol. And it was October, wasn't it? It's a good 2.5 months ago. It was early October that you booked your first 2-hour Simpson Protocol session with me, and we did this online. So I've been eager to hear more. You've dropped me an email and I was very excited with that. But could you speak a little bit about what you initially wanted to achieve from the hypnotherapy session?
Yes, so I came to you kind of at the end of my wits, really. I was having this awful pain in my shoulder, which has been ongoing for quite some time. And I really had tried so many different things. Nothing was working, nothing was shifting.
Mm,
And I believed that it was something a bit deeper than just the sort of surface layer physical. And I wanted to explore hypnotherapy, and I didn't really know how or where to begin. So I connected with you, and we talked through some options, and we decided Simpson Protocol might be a good way to start. I was
yeah.
quite nervous at first because I thought that perhaps there'd be too much in my mind. I wouldn't be able to let go. I wasn't sure. I didn't really know what to expect, which I think was good. I think it was good that I
Yeah.
did expectations. I just knew I needed support, and I knew that something much bigger than I really understood um, needed to shift. Uh,
Mm.
so I was really grateful that we could address it. And yeah, we began in October with the first session, which was quite a long one, wasn't it? It was
It's a
about 3 hours.
2-hour session, yeah, completely holistic. So it's very good for those sort of things where people have tried everything, but there's obviously something else going on. And the conscious mind doesn't necessarily need to know what that is in order to instigate a change. If there's a block, a resistance, something needs to be addressed there, doesn't it? But that first session is 2 hours, and it's literally, very, very it covers so many levels inside and outside. It's very thorough. It's totally holistic, which is why I like it. What did you
Mm.
find in that session? Was there any awareness that came to you?
Yeah,
Not that
so
it's
in that
meant
first
to.
session, I found it quite challenging for me. You know, it was definitely a journey, and it possibly was one of the first times that I'd ever really been to that place, sort of connecting into the superconscious and not feeling the need to have to, like you said, understand it, know what was going on.
Yeah.
Um,
With our analytical minds, that's a challenge sometimes. It can be, can't it? But it's a real lesson.
yeah, it was incredibly profound. I felt very present all the way through it, and I was able to um, remember everything and kind of stay quite present. And yet there was this sense, this sort of extra sense of something, of being guided and of being kind of held. And it really was like nothing I've ever experienced. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. It was quite a journey. I remember feeling after it like, wow, I just was somewhere that I'm not sure I've ever been.
Yeah. And what did you notice after the first session in terms of results? Was there anything on that first session, or did it all come from the second?
It
For you?
started for sure in the first section to permeate. The first session
Mm,
was, as I said, I found it quite challenging because I think a lot of things did start to shift. I
mm,
did get quite a lot of insights, and I remember you telling me, "Don't worry, you don't have to know what they are. They're not necessarily important for the process to
yeah,
work." But they were very useful for me. I did get a
yeah,
lot of insights, which I scribbled down and sort of contemplated over the next weeks. And I do believe that those insights actually had a really big part in the shift
mm,
and in that deeper understanding of perhaps what was going on with the
yeah,
pain. without needing to sort of, dig it up and analyze it and qualify it. It just felt very useful for me to have that slightly
Mm.
background awareness. Um, but I did feel the second session for me was the
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Well,
that,
that got what you wanted, what you came to the session for. And sometimes on that first session, there's a whole lot of other stuff that's being addressed before that original surface issue that's presenting itself in the physical is addressed
yeah.
at that point. But it's so much has happened in the lead up to that being the issue there. And that was quite debilitating for you for a long time, wasn't it? That
The
pain
pain, oh my
in the
goodness.
shoulder. Yeah.
It really was. And I've experienced lots of different pain. I'm a yoga teacher and I have various injuries all the
Yeah.
time. But that pain was like nothing I'd ever known. It was constantly there. It was there when I woke up. It was there at night. It was
Mm.
constantly part of my day. And it was really I was getting very depressed and
Yeah.
quite desperate, actually.
Mm.
Um, so I really do feel that it took it to a whole other level.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
second session for me was very profound. It was the chakra clearing, um, which I loved because I love to work with the chakras. That
Yeah.
it's a
That was
practice
the
that
last half of that hour session, the follow-up. The first half is the regular, it's our anyway, yeah, it's covering off still a lot of bases in that second session, but then I work with the chakras for you on that one. I thought you would be open to that, so that was very good. You
that's
mentioned in the email that your shoulder was better just a little while ago, and that you thought that the session helped a lot and you feel a lot of clearing was done. Could you talk a little bit about that?
so. I think, I mean, it's difficult to sort of say it in words, but what I experienced in that second session was this really expansive awareness. It was very supportive. It was very loving, and I
Mm.
really experienced this sort of, I mean, I guess this sort of super conscious healing presence. Um,
Mm.
and I was able to let go into that and trust in that. Um, One of the things that had come up for me in the first session was my inability to trust often. And I was really kind of aware of this presence, of this
Mm.
energy that I was able to let go into and trust in. And the second half, the second half of the second session, I was completely in another dimension.
Yeah.
Um, and when I came back from that and we ended the session and I sort of went away, I felt like somehow this pain that I was experiencing, which was very heavy and it was very sort
Mm.
of dense, I felt like that had shifted and it was somehow lighter. It was
Yeah,
like there was a shift in the fabric of the sensation, if that makes sense.
exactly. Yeah.
It was still there, the pain, but it was different.
Mm.
The weeks went on, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after, um, that I really started to feel the pain was easing. It was
Yeah.
gradually easing. It was getting less. It was getting
This is the
less.
processing time it takes to come about, isn't it?
Yes. And yeah, it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks after our session. I woke up one morning and the pain was sort of like extreme, almost like a stabbing pain, very,
Mm.
very quick in my shoulder. And then it was almost like poof,
Mm.
it just went.
Yeah.
And that I think was that kind of gradual processing after that session. And then it had gone
Very,
and
very good.
has not returned. And it feels like a miracle, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
So
To
it
not
feels
be.
like a lot of clearing was done as well for you.
Yes, it does. I've had a lot of clarity around issues that are in my life that
Mm.
I think possibly were related to why this pain was present.
Yeah.
As you said, it doesn't even matter whether I know it or not, but I have been feeling a lot of insight. I have been, yeah,
Yeah.
there's been some quite big shifts in kind of how I'm operating around those insights, around just
So there's been some
general
change in
life.
action.
Yeah, I feel like
That's
things are
really important, isn't it? Mm.
yeah, there's like a movement forward now, whereas I
Yeah,
had felt a lot of stagnancy.
yeah,
Um, I feel that there's been a bit of a push,
yeah,
um, and things are starting to happen and change. I'm feeling a bit more flow in that sort of day to
yeah,
day, getting on with stuff, and
yeah.
just not being in pain has transformed my
Oh, it's
life.
just amazing, isn't it? Yes. So I had an annular tear and an MRI in the lower spine. Must have been more than a year and a half ago. Nothing else worked. I tried the yoga, tried all sorts, tried, having physio, hypnotherapy, all sorts of changes, how I sort of did my day, and nothing worked. And then I did had the Simpson protocol on me. Um, it still didn't shift straight away, and that is because I wasn't listening to a knowing and taking action where I needed to take action. So sometimes, as we say, there's no need to have awareness. Sometimes you might just find yourself doing something differently afterwards, making a different decision because you're more aligned at that point. But when I started to actually action some awareness, it sort of came to the surface, right? This needs to happen. Oh my goodness, the pain was just gone. So it's really nice to have this holistic way of however it's meant to be is addressed. But sometimes if you've got a knowing that something needs to be done, it's time to do it. It might be one of those things where you just got to take notice. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Emma.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a really wonderful experience, and yeah, I would definitely
My
recommend
pleasure.
it as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. And best wishes to you. I know you're running in a retreat in Colombia next month.
Yes,
So,
I am.
yeah,
With
yeah,
pain-free body.
that'd be brilliant. Do you want to mention your website?
Yes, you can find me on sacredSpaceStudios.com, where I do
Fantastic.
sorts of work with women, women's retreats. I paint. So yeah, find me
Oh,
there
that's
if
great.
you're interested in my work.
Oh, that sounds such fun. Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you.
Thank you,
I just
Natalie.